name is Megan and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be starting a series called Love It or Loathe It, where I discuss books that I've read that I've either loved or loathed. And I'm going to be giving spoiler-free reviews of each of these books that I've either loved or loathed. So today I'm going to start off that series with this Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. So this is the first Victoria Schwab book that I've read, and I'm really glad that I was able to be introduced to a new author and read her work. This is a YA fantasy with a post-apocalyptic feel. It's kind of a futuristic North America, and they have a monster problem. Monsters manifest themselves through evil actions. For example, the Sunai manifest themselves through like mass murders and mass shootings. The Maokai manifest themselves through just single murders, and then the Horsai manifest themselves through just like violent but non-lethal actions. So I thought that was a really cool idea that we have these monsters overrunning the city, and because people are, you know, naturally sinful and we do stuff that's bad all the time, like these monsters are constantly being birthed because people keep doing bad things. So in the North City, so it takes place in the city in Verity, and Verity is separated into a northern section and a southern section. And the north section is run by a man named Harker, and people pay him for him to protect them with his own monsters. So he employs some Maokai and some Horsai to kind of keep the monsters on the outside of the city at bay, which is kind of interesting. And then the southern city is controlled by Flynn, who uses basically just army and human manpower to keep these monsters out of the city. So the story follows Kate. She is the daughter of Harker, and she is basically intent on proving to her father that she is as tough as her father, that she deserves to be with him dealing with these monsters, and she wants to be like him, and he's kind of cold towards her. Their character that we follow is August, and August is a Sunai that is in a human's body, and he desires nothing more but to be human, and he has a lot of trouble identifying with himself as a monster. Overall, I really enjoyed the idea of this book. I really enjoyed the premise. I thought it was really unique. I've never read anything like it before. I did enjoy August as a character quite a bit. He was just incredibly sweet and kind of innocent and a little naive, and he was just trying to come to terms with his identity. You know, he doesn't want to be a monster, but his older brother, who is also a monster, is always telling him like, hey, you need to accept who you are and you have so much potential. And August is really, really conflicted within himself. I wasn't so much a fan of Kate. I just found her reasons for being the way she was unjustified. Yeah, she wanted to be like her father, but that doesn't mean you need to be a rebellious nuisance all the time. So I think this is a dual perspective book, and I enjoyed August's perspectives more than Kate. I will say, however, that Kate did grow over the course of the book, as did August, and they kind of did meet in the middle of where they came from, like to where they could be. So if you like character growth, this book did have decent character growth. Secondly, this book moved at a very fast pace. The whole time it was playing out like an action movie in my head, but the fact that it was such a fast pace, and I'm not sure the word count on this book, but the pages aren't very big and there's not a lot of words on each page. I felt like it's probably a lower word count, and because of that, it wasn't able to give a realistic, I guess, progression of Kate and August's relationship, as well as the events that were happening to force them together. So I would have liked to see this book be longer and just include more time for them to develop a relationship, if that makes sense. I'm not just talking about like a romantic relationship, I'm talking about like a friendship relationship. Secondly, I didn't really like in this book how, I'm going to say barren, that's the word I'm going to use. This word felt to me. I felt like Victoria Schwab was presenting the ideas to me, but they were never fully fleshed out. This book is filled with monsters. They're supposed to be these scary monsters birthed from sin, but they just weren't described in a scary manner. In my head, I just got like shadows on the wall. You know, this world could have been so creepy, it could have been so scary, but it just wasn't. Another thing I did not like about this book was who the villain ended up being. That was so predictable. This book overall, to me, was very, very, very predictable, and that just took away a lot of my enjoyment from it. The villain, it just seemed like a cardboard cutout villain, the kind that you would see in like a comic book. There's really not any motivation for him to be evil except for the fact that he is evil. So because of that, I just felt detached from the villain, which can have a huge impact on the story overall. So overall, I gave The Savage Song 3 out of 5 stars. It was enjoyable, but I wasn't completely invested in the story or the characters or the ending. This, in my opinion, can be read as a standalone because the conflict presented in this story was wrapped up in this story, but at the end we are presented with a kind of like extension into a second story, and this is a duology, so I'm sure that will be handled in, I think it's Our Dark Duet. However, I did not enjoy this book enough to continue on with the series. I say that hesitantly because you never know. I read a lot. I could decide to pick it up in the future. But if you're looking for a fantasy that has kind of like a post-apocalyptic feel, that's very fast-paced, kind of like an action movie, then I would definitely suggest going with this. If you're looking for a book that is just really full of twists and turns and surprises that you couldn't see coming, then I probably wouldn't go with this. So overall, I did like this. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't love it. I didn't loathe it. Middle of the ground for me. So let me know, guys, below if you have read this Savage Song and what you thought of it, or if you think I should read this Dark Duet and if it gets any better. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.